In this episode of the Globe News Report, downtown businesses are changing storefronts and expanding locations.
Disc golf is on the rise in Goshen with a new disc golf course in the area.
And artists are able to show their art to the community again in the Arts on the Mill Race and Michiana Pottery Tour. It's all coming up right here on the Globe News Report.
In the Globe studios on the campus of Goshen College, I'm Alyssa McDonald.
And I'm Amelia Turnbull, and this is the Globe News Report.
I'm so excited to be here, Amelia. This is my first time in the studio, and it's amazing to see how it's come together.
Yeah, it's great to be back in the studio. It's already improved so much from last year, and it's just great to have such a nice space, Alyssa.
Locally owned businesses have been moving around downtown Goshen. Amelia Turnbull with the story.
Downtown businesses have seen tremendous growth, resulting in multiple storefronts changing locations. The Soapy Gnome and the Imagination Spot are the two stores with the biggest changes. The Soapy Gnome moved to Main Street, and the Imagination Spot took that old storefront. Jenny Freck, owner of the Soapy Gnome, had been planning to move locations for a while, even though it was difficult.
Yeah, it was really tricky to find space. We feel super fortunate to have gotten the space that we did.
When Menno Travel moved, so did the Soapy Gnome.
When Menno Travel moved out, we contacted the landlord right away and we said, hey, we'd love to have that space.
Jasmine Wall, the owner of the Imagination Spot, quickly took the storefront left behind by the Soapy Gnome.
I was thinking of expanding with workshops and bringing more products, and I was looking around to see where I could maybe rent space for workshops. And then Soapy Gnome decided to move, and this just kind of made sense to have workshops and the shop in all one location.
Customers are also happy about the change in location. Lauren Murphy, Soapy Gnome customer, is impressed by the move.
I think it's cool and it's innovative that they've moved around and changed locations.
Walk-in traffic has especially increased for the Soapy Gnome, says Freck.
Being on Main Street has been really nice. We get a lot more walk-in traffic. We already got a lot. Being across from the Electric Brew, we got a lot of walk-in traffic. But being on Main Street is even more visible.
The Imagination Spot also has more walk-in traffic and more customers, according to Wall.
I have seen more walk-in traffic. This location gives me a little bit more visibility with larger windows to be able to display more products.
Both the Soapy Gnome and the Imagination Spot are able to have all aspects of their business under one storefront. This is a great addition for production manager of the Soapy Gnome, Jamie Stacy.
We're a small business and we're kind of like a little family. And keeping us all together, I think, is great. And I think people appreciate seeing that product is made on site as well, too.
Annalise Nisley, downtown customer, is impressed with the changes in downtown Goshen and enjoys supporting local businesses.
The owners are local. They could be your neighbors, they could be your friends, they could be somebody you go to church with, and it's supporting people that you know.
More small businesses are coming to downtown Goshen, and others are still growing. For Globe News, I'm Amelia Turnbull. I love talking to all those women downtown. It's amazing to see how much their businesses have grown over the years.
I agree, Amelia. I'm excited to see what's next for downtown Goshen and local businesses. When we return, we'll talk about a new sport that's all the rage in Goshen. This is the Globe News Report.
Goshen College students enjoy an amazing success record, and we have some impressive numbers to prove it. But stories of our graduates say even more. Like developing a breakthrough antiviral drug for HIV/AIDS, writing #1 hits, being named one of Time Magazine's most influential people in the world for cancer research, and enjoying a broadcast career right out of college. They all started with a real-world education on a campus that makes everyone feel at home. See how the numbers add up and schedule your campus visit today at goshen.edu/visit.
Welcome back to the Globe News Report. A new disc golf course has opened up in Goshen. Dante Stanton has more on this story.
A new sport has taken over the Goshen community. While not considered to be the most traditional sport, the game of disc golf is not without its fans. But the question is, what is disc golf?
So disc golf plays very similarly and scores similarly to what we would call ball golf. When you become a disc golfer, golf isn't just golf anymore. But essentially, you're just throwing the disc and trying to get it into the basket as quickly in as few throws as possible.
Over the past several years, the sport's popularity has grown exponentially within the Goshen community, including with the Goshen College crowd.
It's just a really fun thing. You don't need to be a certain age to play. You don't have to have a certain body type to play. It's just you can go out and throw discs with whoever. And so I think that's something that's really appealing for a lot of different people.
In addition to a local course at Oxbow County Park and neighboring counties such as Syracuse and Wakarusa, the disc golf craze has been spurred on by Goshen's love of the game with the opening of 2 brand new disc golf courses within a mile of each other and less than 2 miles outside of the downtown area. Each course is a 9-hole selection with one location at Mullet Park and the second being named Disciples at the Life Center in Goshen. The course at Mullet Park grew from an idea shared by avid disc golfer Stuart Mead, who believed that the once empty Mullet Park just outside downtown Goshen was being underutilized.
When you get obsessed with a sport, whenever you drive by somewhere that's a park or a school or something, you're kind of looking and thinking, oh, that's a place where a course could go. And so I started doing that with Mullet, and then we heard through a friend of his that the Parks Department would be open. They would entertain a proposal for a new course.
Mead believes that a large part of why the game is so popular in the Goshen area is the community aspect of the game.
It's suitable for new players, for families, but it's also can be enjoyed by more experienced players. And what's fun to do is to go out and play with family and friends in a casual way, or to play competitively. You can, whatever fits your needs.
The Disciples course at the Life Center, less than a mile from Mullet Park, had what most would consider a rough start, being created in July of last year in the midst of the pandemic. But Life Center pastor and Disciples course organizer Chad Yoder sees the pandemic as a driving factor in the sport's popularity.
Yeah, the pandemic has definitely been huge for disc golf. 2 years ago, it was pretty easy to find discs wherever you needed to find them. But there were so many people that have picked up disc golf in the last year and a half, that now you've got tournaments that are filling within, a day or two. You've got discs going out of stock the second they're released. And so there's a lot of growth in disc golf right now.
Whether it's a friendly game, a fun activity for the family, or an intense competition, fun times in Goshen can be just a disc throw away. Reporting for Globe Sports, my name is Dante Stan.
Disc golf seems like a lot of fun. I might have to try it out sometime. I'm glad we have a new course in Goshen.
Disc golf does sound fun. We should have a Globe outing to support the new area. Stay tuned to learn more about art and artists next on the Globe News Report. A new disc golf
Welcome back to the Globe News Report. The Arts in the Mill Race is back in Goshen after being canceled due to the pandemic last year. Gabriella has an inside look at the event.
The Arts on the Mill Race tradition has highlighted the growing artist community in Goshen since 2013. The 2020 event had to be virtual due to COVID-19, but this year everyone was back in person. Food and drink vendors, musicians, and artists gathered to share their craft and skills with their community once again. Tasha Friesen, a 2015 Goshen College graduate, was one of the artists that set up a tent and displayed artwork to sell at this year's Arts on the Mill Race. At the event, Tasha talked about her journey with art.
Well, I have always wanted to be an artist my whole life, and I was kind of just like discouraged from that track by my family and by society. Everybody's like, you can't be successful or make a living as an artist, but just keep coming back to it.
Friesen talked about what she loves most about working on her art.
I love the conceptualizing stage. Nothing ever turns out the way that I first see it in my head, but I can see it from the beginning how I want it to be. And there's so many stages to pottery specifically that from putting the lump of clay on the wheel to actually pulling it out of the last firing is such a long time, and so many factors come into play that I don't have control over. And it's a good challenge for me.
She shared some advice for future artists.
It's worth it. It's so hard and exhausting. I am a one-person operation. I do all my own marketing, all of my own, like everything. It's all out of my garage. It's exhausting. I'm poor all the time, but it's worth it. Like I spent a lot of my life like cramming myself into jobs that were more stable but were not what I wanted to do, and it wears on you, and I just burnt out on every single one of them. And yeah, just doing art all the time is what my soul wants to do, and it's worth it, and you should go for it.
Tasha Friesen is just one example of the talent we have in Goshen. For more information on upcoming artist events, go to goodofgoshen.com. Reporting for Globe News, I'm Gabriella.
I'm glad that artists were able to come together again this year to share their craft with each other and the community.
I agree. It's so good to see local artists being able to share in their talents in person again. When we return, we'll meet another artist in the Goshen area and talk about the Michiana Pottery Tour on the Globe News Report.
I came to Goshen thinking that I'd just be acting, but over the course of my 4 years, I've taken part in all the other facets of theater, and I think that's helped me gain a wider appreciation for theater as a whole.
I mean, it takes all those things that I'm interested in, like design aspects of theater, the environmental studies course I took, and it takes my music major, and it just focuses it all into theater.
Welcome back. Joining me today is Trevor Doherty, one of the hosts of the Michiana Pottery Tour this year. Trevor, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
This year's Michiana Pottery Tour is September 25th through the 26th. Can you tell us what the event is all about and what your role is?
Sure. So Goshen and the broader Michiana area has a really healthy ceramics community. There's very well-established artists, more recent graduates of Goshen College and other colleges in the area. So it's an opportunity to bring together all of the artists in one weekend. So for people who are interested in buying pottery or supporting local artists, they can easily get to all of our studios over the course of 48 hours or so, meet us in person, do a little shopping, and kind of learn more about the broader Michiana ceramics community.
Yeah, that's really cool. So there must be a lot of potters there.
There are, yeah. So this year there's 6 stops total where you can go to the actual studios, do shopping in person, and each of those stops has 3 to 10 artists each from all around Michiana, from the United States, some from Canada. So there's kind of a broader reach than just Michiana. And then there's also an online sale too. So if you're not comfortable going in person, or if you're from further away, you can go online and buy pottery too.
Yeah, definitely. So how has the pandemic last year affected the tour and your art?
Sure. So last year the tour was totally online as opposed to being in person. This year it's both in person and online. So whatever your comfort level is, there's kind of an option for everybody. Hopefully by next year, we'll be back to having 8 to 10 stops all around the region for people to go to. As far as me directly, my studio has been open for a year, so I really only know operating in the pandemic, but it's been good to get the online operation up. Right now, about 80% of my sales are online. So building that Instagram following, social media, all of that stuff has just been a real priority during the pandemic. So hopefully once we're out of this, I'll have that part established and it'll be easier.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to have that strong following online too. So how long have you been making pottery, and what will you and other artists be selling this year?
I first had my first experience with ceramics in high school. I went to Bethany Christian, which is just down the road. So I'm 33 now, so the better portion of my life. I took ceramics classes here at Goshen with Merrill and worked for local artists, Dick Lehman, more recently Justin Rosshank, who are both Goshen graduates. So yeah, I've had off and on throughout my whole life in the studio, and then we purchased our own home and studio around the corner here from the college, not too far away, from Marvin Bartell, who is a former Goshen professor. So the last year or so, I've had my own space to really get to work.
Yeah, definitely. That's so cool. And you brought some of your pottery with you today. Can you tell us about your artwork and how you made it and that sort of thing?
Sure. So I primarily focus on what's called soda firing, which is a unique process where when the kiln is at its highest temperature, you're spraying salt and sodium into the kiln itself. So that's what creates these very glossy, kind of runny surfaces. It's fairly unique to the area. You'll find a couple other potters in Michiana who do that. But primarily it's an exercise that takes a little more labor during the process. So there aren't as many potters in North America who do that. So yeah, it creates kind of a unique look. I mean, I'm really partial to these brighter colors, but also what you can get out of these darker ones as well are just unique to the area, and I think great additions to any space.
Yeah, and they're so beautiful, and just how you got it to look like that is so cool. So thank you, Trevor, for joining us on the Globe News Report. It was a pleasure having you, and good luck this weekend at the Michiana Pottery Tour. And you can find more information about the Pottery Tour at michianapotterytour.com. That's it for us today. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at 911 The Globe, and our website, globeradio.org, for more news coverage. Until next time, this has been the Globe News Report.